Well,
Well, let's
baby.
start out with tell me about Kevin Harris. And last year he was such a workhorse. What is the expectation for him coming into this year? Do you think you're going to be able to lighten that load a little bit, or does he need to be that again?
Yeah, no, he was certainly a workhorse, so he's shown that he can be that guy. We want to lighten the workload. I mean, I've been around some great running backs in my time, and the best ones are the ones that you're able to keep fresh and keep healthy, and really like the group in that running back room that we have. But Kevin, so much respect for him. I mean, you look at what he did last season on a team that didn't have the year wins and loss was that South Carolina wanted, and to still be over a 1,000-yard rusher was pretty awesome. So he's got high expectations. I talk to him regularly, obviously, and he's highly motivated for this season, and I'm excited to watch him go to work.
Shane, how's Marshawn coming along, and what kind of battle do you expect for that top running back slot?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. You know, even during spring practice when he wasn't able to practice, just the mentality that he came out on the field with, the way that he supported his teammates. Saw him in the weight room early this morning before we left. He's eager and hungry to get out there. So that's a great group. You talk about Marshawn, you talk about Kevin. You guys saw the spring games. Aquandre White had a great spring for us and had a really nice spring game. So it's a good running back group, and Rashad Amos and Juju McDowell, who we just signed. It's a good group, and excited to watch those guys compete and figure out how it all shakes itself out.
What about Luke as a runner? I mean, yeah, him in that mix. Is there a scenario where you could see Marshawn and Kevin and more than just one in the backfield?
Yeah, you never know. I've talked to the staff about it. Let's figure out how do we get our best players on the field, and regardless of position. And if that's a quarterback and 3 running backs and 2 tight ends, and let's go and let's get our best guys out there. And Luke's a really talented guy. He can run the football. He's very athletic. There's no question about it. We need to be able to utilize that, but at the same time, we don't want your quarterback, being your leading rusher either. So we've got to be able to run him enough just to keep teams honest and do what we have to do to win football games. But I don't think enough people are talking about Luke and his ability as a quarterback. He's really worked hard to get better at throwing the football, footwork, fundamentals. He and Marcus Satterfield, our offensive coordinator, spent a lot of time together, and I'm excited to see him after having a year of preparing to be just a quarterback and not a kickoff cover guy and receiver and everything else that he did in the past.
What kind of quarterback competition are you expecting in camp? I mean, will there be some competition for Luke with Brown and Gauthier?
Yeah, sure. I mean, every position we have, we talk about competition all the time in our program, and quarterback's no different. So we named Luke the starter coming out of spring practice, and he's done nothing to change our minds this summer. But at the same time, I've told him this, and the other quarterbacks know this. I mean, they're competing every day, and it's up to Luke to continue to get better, for those guys to continue to push each other and make each other better. And they've worked really hard. Colton and Jason and Connor Jordan, they've all worked really hard this summer, and I'm excited to see them when we crank up practice in August.
What's the latest from a personnel standpoint? Any guys that you know right now who won't be able to go when camp begins?
No, knock on wood. Everyone that was part of a recruiting class, we fully expect to be there when we start practice. Everyone from an injury standpoint will be healthy and ready to roll. They may be coming off some injuries and surgeries where they may not be quite 100% when we start practice, but they're rapidly approaching that for sure.
Do you feel like this coaching staff approaches this season with a little bit of something to prove, and that you have coordinators that haven't done it at the Power 5 level? This is your first opportunity as a head coach, and what kind of excitement does that bring for a freshman?
Yeah, it's a lot of excitement. We're not motivated by what people on the outside think, but certainly we're not dumb. I mean, we hear the talk and know that we're going to be picked as one of the, towards the bottom of the SEC when the picks come out, and chatter out there about, 2 coordinators that haven't been at the Power 5 level. But, we've got great football coaches, I feel like. And at the end of the day, we're all intrinsically motivated and competitors, and we want to be the very best that we can be. And the one way to silence some of that is to go out there and win football games. And the way you do that is to just get better each day and have a fantastic preseason camp. And let's see what happens when we start playing in September.
Shane, where did Luke make his biggest gain during the spring, and what is he going to do? What is he going to need to do once fall camp begins to get even better?
Yeah, I think one is just learning the offense. I mean, what we're doing offensively is completely different from a terminology standpoint than what they were asked to do last year. So it's getting in there and learning a new offense. He did a great job of that. He's a very, very, very intelligent young man. So he did a great job with that. And I think the biggest thing with him is just from a fundamental standpoint with his footwork. You hear quarterbacks talk about it all the time, their footwork and their drops. And Luke's really worked hard. The arm talent's not a question. It's just cleaning up everything from a fundamental standpoint with his feet and lower body. And that's something that he's really worked hard on over the summer and during spring practice, and will continue to as we go go into preseason camp.
Isn't that kind of good for you guys in that the expectations are kind of low? I mean, the over under from Vegas of wins for you guys is like 3.5. So people aren't expecting to come in and blow the doors off. Takes kind of the pressure off of you a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think when you play in this league, there's pressure every week, and the Vegas insiders may have us at that, but our fans certainly don't have us at that. And I don't think if I got up there today and said, we're planning on winning 3 or 4 games this year and getting ready for next year, I don't think that's going to go over, and that's not our plan. I mean, we want to be the very best team that we can be, and we're all competitors, and no one around here is happy about what's taken place the last couple seasons. And myself, our staff, and every player in that program is hungry to be better than what we've been.
And would you say that you've been able to install the culture that you want? Just, talking to recruits that come through, they talk about the culture, the family atmosphere, the feeling like home. And that's something you guys have really driven on social media. Have you established that?
We've tried to. I mean, I still think it's a work in progress. I don't think it's something that's done over the 6 or 7 months of being in place. I think it's just the consistency of doing that day in, day out. And I think recruits saw that. They have seen that throughout the recruiting process, and then them being able to get on campus, and what they saw from us on Zoom calls and FaceTimes was what we were like in person. And then, every single day, you're trying to do that within the walls of our facility and instill in that environment and building that culture. And that's ongoing, but certainly, I think we're as far along as we could be, at this point from that standpoint, and I couldn't be more pleased with that.
And when you were an assistant under Spurrier, and no doubt sat back and watched him perform at SEC Media Days, and now you're going to be that guy representing South Carolina. I mean, did you think about that back in those days, that maybe one day you'd like to be that guy standing up there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can go back to, I don't know how long SEC Media Days has been televised, but ever since it's been televised, I've certainly been that guy watching the television, dreaming that one day you'd be up there. So to be being able to go up there today is pretty cool, and represent this great program's really exciting. And anyone that thinks I've learned from Steve Spurrier how to be on the stage and at press conference, I think is going to be very disappointed. I'm not him from that standpoint, but I'm really excited to be able to get up there and talk about Gamecock football.
Okay, but Shane, knowing you, and as you were as a kid pretending to be a head coach, and listening to you talk about watching SEC Media Days, haven't you you thought about that first time you're going to be in the big room?
Oh, yeah.
And your opening statement?
Yeah.
Okay, can you give us a sample?
I think it's just a general overview of where we are as a program right now. And I've talked to some other head coaches and asked them for advice, and they said the longer I talk, the less questions you guys have to ask. So I saw Coach Ogeron's. I don't think my opening statement will be as quick as his was, but it's not going to be a long filibuster either while I'm up there. But no, I just think it's just talking about where we are as a program, and you guys cover us each and every day. You guys know what's going on in Columbia, but there's a lot of national media that haven't heard me talk since maybe ever, or since my opening press conference. So just update on where we are, and more importantly, where we're going.
Does it make you angry when you see maybe some of the low expectations that are coming in from around the country? Do you use that as personal motivation?
It is what it is. If we're picked to win the SEC in 2 years, I'm really not going to care. And if we're picked to finish last today, I'm really not going to care. I mean, our players know that, and we'll take any kind of motivation we can. But at the end of the day, we're all competitors. We're all, motivated internally, and I think we all feel like we have a lot to prove, and we're excited to get started doing that.
What do you see from the wide receiver position? Only, I think guy had 11 catches last year. Major as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's had more than that. But I mean, a lot of guys with a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But talent hasn't equaled production quite yet.
No, it's a very deep group. You're right. We got a lot of guys on the roster that play receiver, and there's some talented guys, and that's a position that they are very hungry. They've heard a lot of the chatter out there about what they haven't done here and what they need to do, and they're working really, really hard. And I'm fired up about the group. There's some talent in that group, and we don't need 15 guys to separate themselves. We need a handful of guys that separate themselves that we can count on, and they're working really hard and well on their way to doing that, I feel like.
Which players stand out as leaders on the team right now?
Two of them are here with me today, Kingsley and Nick. Those are 2 guys that since day one have been fantastic leaders for us, and really appreciate what they've been about since the day that I got to Columbia. And then there's a lot of them. I mean, we've really spent a lot of time trying to develop the leadership within our team and bringing those guys along. And Nick and Kingsley certainly are 2 of those guys for us right now.
About the strength of the lines for you guys, offensive line. Is that the defensive line perspective?
Yeah, no, it is. It's It's a deep group, offensive line and defensive line. There weren't a lot of positions that I was familiar with at South Carolina when I got hired. Defensive line was one of them because we've tried to recruit so many of those guys when I was at Georgia with Kirby Smart and when I was at Oklahoma the last few years. And Jordan Birch, Boogie Huntley, and Rick Sandage, and Zach Pickens, and on and on and on. It's a really talented group, and excited to watch those guys go to work. And in this league, in any league, you better be able to stop the run. And it starts up front with those guys, and I'm glad they're on our side. Good.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.